Well, welcome everybody to our Monday night Behind the Science call here with APLGo. And every second Monday of the month, we get to talk about our incredible DNA drops that are just changing people's lives every single day. The testimonies that come pouring in are amazing, but sometimes it's really cool to know what is behind these amazing drops. And we are so fortunate to have Mary Esther Gilbert as part of our awesome APLGo family. She is a nutritional healing, preventative health, and anti-aging specialist. 40 plus years in the holistic space. Mary Esther, welcome to our call tonight, where we are going to talk about the drop called ALT.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here, Tina, with you.
And it was so great seeing you last week. You have the best energy, and I know that's hard to feel through the computer, but if you haven't given Mary Esther Gilbert a hug yet, you need to make sure to be in the next place she's going to be, because her energy is just infectious.
Well, thank you.
So tonight we're talking about ALT. And I know ALT, one of the main benefits of ALT is that it is defense against environmental factors. Can you tell us, based on your experience in the holistic field, what does that encompass? What does that mean?
Well, this particular formulation has a lot to do with improving the cellular immune system functioning and its ability to respond to all these different allergens and pollutants that we inhale and affect the respiratory system, and also how it responds to all these different inflammatory responses that invade our bodies, like the foreign microorganisms, all these foreign particles, and all these different pollutants and synthetic chemicals. So our body is up against quite a bit, and so I'm glad that the APL company has put together a great formulation that has all these botanicals that really address the functioning of all these different cells in the body.
So you said supports immune response. What ingredients are in these DNA drops that support immunity?
In every single one of the botanicals, they have an array of nutrient factors called the phytonutrients or phytochemicals, these different plant compounds that really address how the body responds to them. That is, it will read the DNA of the plants and insert segments of their plant DNA into our own DNA, where we have those segments in common, because we have a lot in common with the plant kingdom.
Wow. So on that same note, I know we have a list of, I think there's 13 or 14 ingredients in ALT, but I'd love to go over just some of them specifically with you. The first one that we hear so much about is astragalus. Could you share with us what exactly that is and what the benefits of that are?
Well, heck yeah. Can I share the screen for a moment, then I'll give it back to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to show you all something. Hi, everybody. Okay, so can you see this document?
Yes.
All right, so this is what it looks like. Let me enlarge it slightly in case anybody needs me to enlarge it. So this is what the plant looks like, the Astragalus membranaceus. That's the common Latin term that all scientists in the world recognize who have studied these botanicals. And this is what it looks like when you slice the root up. It has these wonderful aromatic sticks. I used to keep these on hand for my clients. And I used to grow a lot of the different botanicals that I work with. So I would just dry them and bottle them and keep them in my pantry, so that when a client had specific issues, I would put together all these different botanicals. And the astragalus was one of the main ones to help inhibit the inflammatory enzyme called cyclooxygenase 2, and all these other inflammatory proteins like the reactive oxygen species, which is ROS. And all of these different reactive proteins are present whenever there's something wrong in the body, when there's injury or inflammation or anything that the body needs to repair. So the astragalus is really great to inhibit a lot of these inflammatory proteins that the body has to make when there's an injury or when there's something wrong.
Wow, very cool.
And then also I wanted to show just a couple of pictures. I like to show pictures. It's worth 1,000 words, right? So yeah, here's a picture of just a basic DNA, and our base pairs that make up the rungs of the ladder of the DNA. So you can see the thymine and adenine and cytosine and guanine and all the different many thousands of configurations that determine a person's characteristics, their state of health, and which identifies, what gender we are and what our features are, everything, right? Everything that's going on in the body, including the repair processes and all it responds to. So these base pairs are extremely important. So when they get out of alignment or misaligned or confused by the damage that happens, then this is what happens when it's trying to duplicate the cell and duplicate the mother cell. So our cells are constantly turning over, and so they're splitting the DNA in half. Half of it is used as a template, and the other half is used as a substrate, a very basic foundation for building the new cell. So it copies or transcribes all of this genetic information. And if your immune system is suffering, then some of these processes can go wrong, right? And so a person has immune system problems, overreactions to inflammation. The immune cells are confused themselves. Their DNA isn't aligned properly. So all of these nutrients and phytonutrient factors that are in the botanicals in the ALT formula are actually helping to make sure that this transcription process occurs properly, so that our immune system functions properly and recognizes an allergen or something that is invasive in order to mobilize all the immune cells to destroy it. Did everybody follow that?
Oh yeah, sure, completely.
Okay.
You're so
Great.
We're just going to rely on you for all this kind of knowledge. That was just incredible. It explained actually a couple of things. Now we're talking about inflammation. So when it comes to inflammation, and people think of allergies and allergens in the air, so allergens actually create the inflammation. Is that correct?
Yes. If it does not belong in the body and the DNA can recognize it, the immune cells do recognize that it doesn't belong in the body, then it will mobilize all these different forces. There's so many different kinds of immune cells, that do different jobs. In fact, if I could share again, I don't want to take up all the screen time with this document that I always like to prepare for everyone. All right, so let me share really quickly, and I need to make it smaller. Hopefully you can read everything in this chart here, but what I wanted to point out was the different kinds of immune cells in the body that we have to manufacture, and the only way we can ensure that they are functioning properly is to take in the right nutrient compounds. So the ALT botanicals go a long way toward helping to maintain these different kinds of immune cells that are generated in the bone marrow and also in the lymph nodes. So there's two places where the white blood cells will come in, will be manufactured and then distributed throughout the body when needed. And they're not always patrolling the body, but it's the detection mechanisms through the hormonal system and the nervous system that will actually mobilize and alert all these different immune cells. So they're waiting, some of them are normally patrolling the whole entire system via the circulatory system, and some are just waiting to be told to come in, right? So these are the different types of cells that we have to maintain, and that's the macrophages. And what they do is they have various targets. They're pretty general. They eat up, what doesn't belong in the body. They just disassemble everything so that the body can eliminate them. Then you've got the neutrophils, which handle the bacteria and the fungi. And also, by the way, the phytochemical compounds in these botanicals also assist these immune cells to do these kinds of jobs. So then we've got the eosinophils and they work on the parasites and the various allergic tissues. So you've got inflammatory tissues from something that landed in the nose, in the lungs, in other areas in the body as well. So they will go out and take a look at what's going on and disassemble them, or destroy them, whatever the job they must do to get rid of it. And then also we've got the basophils, and they also address various allergic tissues. And we have the mast cells, which address various allergic tissues, the parasites and various allergic tissues. Then we have the T cells. People have normally, when they think of immune cells, they recall, a lot of information out there on the lymphocytes, also known as T cells. And so they work on bacteria, and they're very cytotoxic, or they destroy different tumors. They identify cells that are abnormal and are starting to replicate wrong. So then they address that. So they're called the killer cells, And also they look at all these different viruses that we get, and how tumors are starting to form. So they have a huge job, I think more so than any other one of our immune cells. So then we have the monocytes, and they do various jobs too. They're kind of a jack of all trades kind of cell. And then we have the natural killer cells, and those are really powerful for destroying viruses and tumors. So we do have to maintain the DNA of those cells. So what's great about the ALT is all the compounds in all those botanicals have been shown to help the immune cells do their job.
That is incredible. I know in Chinese medicine, they use an ingredient called the skull cap when it comes to sinuses. I know when we think of allergy, I immediately think of my whole head of sinuses and ears and throat and nose and all of it combined. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, the skull cap is one of the botanicals. A lot of the botanicals in this formulation, they pretty much do the same thing, but in different ways, because they have different phytochemicals in them. So when they act together in synergy, there's no way any kind of immune problem could occur in the cells. They're just getting beat up, and these foreign particles are getting eaten up and dissipated and everything. And so the skull cap is pretty good about doing that too.
Great. And so would you say alt then is more of a seasonal drop, or if people that suffer with allergies, should they take it all year round?
I think that the immune system needs maintenance all the time, and so the more often you put something in your body that will address and improve the immune system, then absolutely, I don't see why someone would just take them seasonally, because if you experience something seasonally only, then that tells you that your immune system is getting a lot of help in the other seasons, like in the summer, where the higher temperatures help inactivate a lot of these problems, and the immune system is not as active because it doesn't have to be. Body temperatures are a little bit elevated. You're sweating more, so your whole circulatory system is more active. So you're able to get rid of a lot of these potential allergens. So yeah, I mean, it's so important to maintain that all the time so that you don't have the problem when allergy season does come around or flu season does come around.
And do you recommend taking it in the morning, in the evening, both? What do you recommend?
It depends, because the body will do its most healing work in the nighttime when you're sleeping. But it's also needed in the morning when you first wake up, because your immune system kind of relaxes and doesn't have as much to do when you're sleeping, because your circulatory system slows down and a lot of the immune process and the repair process are taking place. So it's more of a relaxed state. But when you wake up and you get up and your blood starts pumping and you start breathing, harder, and you're encountered with a lot of stimulation and stress kind of thing. So that's important too. You have to somehow have something in your body to counter all of that stress and improve the immune system function that way. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, these nutrients will work in the body one way or another when it's needed, and especially when it's needed the most.
Excellent. Now, we're talking about allergens because ALT is the drop of the month, but we have a lot of people in general with many of our drops that say they have an allergy to one of the ingredients in one of our drops, and yet they take the drop but don't have an allergic reaction to it. Could you tell us why that could be?
When we have a concentration of the plant instructions in the DNA of the plant, it's not going to have the same effect as the whole entire plant. And if you're not taking in organic foods, then you have the added inflammatory response of the pesticides and other pollutants that the plant has been subjected to. So that's one thing. But another thing is just when you are not taking enough of the plant kingdom, then you're not going to have an array of all those phytochemicals and other nutrient factors that are in the drops. So when you take in the whole plant, then you have all these other potentially stimulating factors in the plant. When you have the drops, you have the DNA, and the phytochemicals and those things that counter any inflammatory or allergic reaction. So, it's really down to the point where you have more of the the fixing components in the DNA in the ALT versus other inflammatory, potential fluids or other phytochemicals that might be involved in the plant. So it depends. It depends on what your body responds to.
Great. We have a couple of pretty popular ingredients that most people have heard of in this one particular drop. I do want to hear about the mangosteen. People have heard there's been, products that revolve around just the mangosteen itself. What can you tell us about that ingredient?
Okay, can I just add one more thing about the weight?
Of course.
Okay, this is really important, and it's tied in with the immune system, because when a person is overweight, then they're going to store more toxins, and that's going to affect the immune system too, and also create a lot of inflammatory responses, right? All right, so let me share really quickly. So I came across this wonderful chart, and I don't want anyone out there to feel guilty, because body fat is so easy to burn off. All you have to do is go walking, go swimming, ride a bicycle, do some deep breathing exercises. Anything that gets the heart rate going for a sustained amount of time will actually help you burn body fat. And the rest of it, the body takes care of, because it needs fats in the body to do all kinds of different work, like make hormones, 10,000s of them. And so, but I just wanted to show everybody this height and weight chart. So if you are underweight, then you're going to fall into this category, a certain height versus a certain weight. And then if you have a healthy body weight, you'll fall in the green zone. If you're overweight, the yellowish green zone. And if you're obese, then the orange zone, and so on and so on. Extremely obese would be the red zone. So this is something that you might want to keep in mind. And it's not only about how much you weigh on the scale. So your body composition may have a great deal of muscle mass. If you do a lot of physical labor, or if you go to the gym, then you're going to have a lot more body weight, because muscle weighs more than fat. But the more fat a person has, the more likely they're going to have with their immune system problems. So ALT comes in handy for that as well.
Wow, great. So I do have a question about stimulants. Now, we know our products don't have stimulants. They don't give you that over the edge, rush of energy, like an energy drink or something not great for your body, but they do have things like Garcinia cambogia, and in this particular drop, green tea. But can you talk about why it's not the same as if you're, putting green tea in your Starbucks drink is different than the green tea and the Garcinia cambogia like that we use here at APLGo?
Yes. Okay, that's great. I love that question, Tina. So green tea, if you make yourself a cup of green tea, there's varying degrees of how strong it's going to be. It's actually half as strong as a cup of black tea in the same amount. And so, and then black tea, when you double that, it's going to have the same amount of caffeine as in coffee. So you gradually, go to stronger and stronger cup of caffeine when you, depending on how strong you make the brew, right? But in the drops, you're getting the DNA of the plant, the instructions of how to manufacture the different, different aspects of your own cells. So we're getting the genetic instructions that our genetic instructions can copy whenever it's needed. So it can splice in and out, other segments of DNA that we have in common with those plants that will help actually improve your energy. So the energy cycle in the body is completely different than if you drink a high caffeine drink. The high caffeine drink will stimulate the nervous system temporarily, and it'll actually make your nervous system respond as if there's an emergency situation. So it goes into haywire mode, so that's what makes you more alert. It's like this danger response reaction kind of thing. So that's not the same as having all these different plant chemicals that are in the green tea plant that are in the drops. And so those phytochemicals will help regulate the nervous system as well. So yes, it will improve the nerve to nerve cell transmission in the body throughout the whole nervous system and make you more alert that way without the caffeine.
That is so fantastic. That may be the best answer I've heard. So one last question for you. We know that alt is great for the microvascular system. Can you talk a little bit about what is the microvascular system and how is it supported through this drop?
Yes. Did you still want me to go over the mangosteen after this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry, give me your question again.
So the microvascular system, what is it
Oh,
and
yes.
how does ALT support it?
Okay, so that's all of your blood vessels from the largest aorta down to the tiniest capillary. You know, we've got miles and miles of blood systems, blood vessels that get smaller and smaller. So even at the tiniest capillary, if there is damage, then the nervous system sends a signal to your brain in the form of pain. So you're going to feel it. You know, if you cut your finger, you're damaging thousands of blood vessels, you know, at that end of the fingertip, right? And you're going to feel the pain. So that sends the immune forces in to do the repair work and all of that. But so to maintain the microvascular system, there's a lot of things we have to do. We have to take in the right types of fats. And since those cells are made out of protein, we have to take in the right dietary proteins, animal-derived proteins, again, from healthy animals, you know, even the lower fat cheeses and things like that, those all contain all the 8 essential amino acids we need to build healthy blood vessels. We also need the right types of fats, animal fats and plant fats, especially the omega-3s in the right balance, will help build pliable and flexible blood vessels. So if you bruise easily, that means you need to improve your protein and your fat intake as far as the quality, so that your blood vessels will be rebuilt properly. And if you exercise, then that increases the blood flow, increases your heart rate, and it pushes the blood at a stronger force throughout the whole system, does a cleansing action, but it also delivers oxygen, but it also, with the body's amazing way that it responds to exercise, it will improve the pliability and flexibility of those blood vessels so that it can take that kind of force the next time you work out. So working out consistently, however gentle, however powerfully you want to do this, your body will respond accordingly and maintain healthy blood vessels. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, you know, or power lifter at the gym, monster workout kind of thing. But if you walk and stretch, you know, it depends on your age, of course, it's always age appropriate. But if you are consistent, then your blood vessels will maintain their strength and pliability. So that's not likely to be damaged. And that's the most important thing. You don't want blood clots forming in there and breaking loose and clogging somewhere that causes strokes and heart attacks kind of thing. So
Wow,
yeah, it's important.
that is very important. And this is great information, because I think a lot of people, even people who've been in the company for a little while now, been on the product for a little while, they think alt and allergy like goes hand in hand. And people are like, well, I don't have allergy issues. This is not a drop for me, but clearly this is a drop for everybody. It's so important. Can you talk about some more benefits of this drop? And then, yes, we want to hear about the mangosteen.
Okay, yeah, let's, I think I'll share again. I've been making documents for these calls lately, and I've been posting them on my website. You probably have heard about that,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, I find that if you have a visual, it just makes so much more sense. You know, I can talk till I'm blue in the face to try to describe all of this, but there's no way I could do it justice. I know what it looks like in my mind, but it may not come out that way so that people can understand what I'm thinking, you know? So that's what I've been doing.
Love the visual.
Okay, so let me go ahead and show you this chart. I'm going to share again. And some of you may have seen this. I may have presented this before in another call, but it's definitely in one of my slideshows. And I just wanted to point that out again, because why should you take alt? When should you take alt? You know, why should you take something that people think it's only for allergies? Well, it's not only for allergies. In my book, I have outlined specifically all of the different things that every botanical has been shown to contain that help not just the immune system, but every single body system. So the immune system particularly, and the hormonal system and the digestive system are the strong points in the ALT formulation. So as you can see, this scientist has taken the genome, the flattened out DNA, and compared it to from human to plant DNA. So as you can see, in red are the common gene sequences that are in the plant and in our DNA. And this in particular is one of the 12 enzymes that both plant and animal cells produce so that they can, just convert sugar and oxygen into water and carbon dioxide during the cell respiration process, or how the body produces energy, in other words. So as you can see, this particular cytochrome C oxidase subunit 6B, scientists love to name all of these many thousands of compounds. So you can see that how much in common we have. Now, in our own cytochrome, if we have any damage in any of the sequences in red, then our DNA knows that it can take those sequences out of this particular plant and just splice it right in. They do the exact same thing. That's how close the human body is to the plant kingdom. We have so much in common with the plant kingdom. So eat your fruits and vegetables and take your drops. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. Let's see. I think there was a segment I put in here for, you can look at these charts. I love the human body. It's just so amazing. And you can see in this photograph, this graphic, that all these different green nodes here are the other circulatory system, the lymph systems. So they're in the armpits. Everywhere you sweat, that's where the lymph nodes are located, so that they have a cleansing microcirculatory system where things enter and are detoxified and cleansed and released throughout the body and to be eliminated. So, and all these different glands, like the thymus glands, even the tonsils, even the small intestine, has all these different nodes inside there. So your body's detoxing all the time and trying to eliminate all these invasive particles or microorganisms that commonly invade the body. Normally, our immune system will just take care of it quickly, especially if you're nourished properly. Okay, so does that answer the question about the microvascular?
It does.
Okay. All right. And I wanted to also go back to the mangosteen, right?
Yes.
Mangosteen. Okay. Let's go here. I have to do a search on this 535-page book.
No problem.
So I'm going through all the charts and whatnot. Okay, here we go. All right, I'll just go ahead and share this, I guess. This wonderful queen of fruits, it's called all throughout Asia, is pretty remarkable. It has the very unique compounds known as the xanthones. It's a huge classification of different types of molecular configurations that have been studied by science for over 100 years. Going back in the scientific literature, you'll find studies that were done 100 years ago by Western, science. But as far as being used by the indigenous people throughout Asia, it's very well known. That's why it's called the queen of fruits. And one of the shamans said that it will fix anything from here to here, and he points down to the reproductive organs, right? So anything from here to here. So, and the science actually does confirm that. So this is a pretty remarkable plant. I really love it. It's an anti-inflammatory. It will go through and detoxify and bind to toxic chemicals so that the body can eliminate them safely instead of being stuck in the fatty tissues, which also means being stuck in the nervous system. The nerve cell coatings are made out of fatty acids. So the synthetics bind to those types of fats in the body and destroy the cells. So, it's a neurodegenerative, nightmare coming on if you're eating the wrong fats or if your body is exposed to a lot of synthetic chemicals. So if you're using products that have the toxic synthetic chemicals or cosmetics or any kind of body care products, then those will be retained in the fatty tissues as well and start reducing the functionality of all of your cells in your body. So the mangosteen is a super hero for that. And it's also been shown both in the Petri dish, in vitro, and also on human subjects and animal subjects in vivo to destroy the cancer cells that start forming due to the immune system going haywire and not recognizing that cells are starting to replicate incorrectly. So you've got these distortions, in the DNA that are starting to replicate. So the immune system's job is to recognize that and destroy those. But the mangosteen is very, very good for also helping to help the immune system identify, the wrong molecules and start destroying those pre-tumor cells. Anti-inflammatory, you know, the COX-2 inhibitors, those are major inflammatory reactions that the body responds to when there's something wrong in the body. And maintains blood pressure, maintains healthy blood vessels because of the essential oils that are in the rind of the fruit itself. And so, like I said, anti-inflammatory, and it dissolves kidney stones. And I am personal witness to that twice. I have had a couple of friends who have had, actually now it's 3. I just remember there's 3 people that had very, very painful kidney stones, including my martial arts instructor. I mean, he can take a lot of pain. He's got multiple black belts in multiple disciplines, and I know he can take a lot of pain. But when he got kidney stones, he was doubled over and was crying like a baby. You know, that's how painful they are. So I had to take each friend to the hospital because, you know, what do? They're doubling over in pain. They're in the hospital. But when I had them take a mangosteen formulation, it dissolved those kidney stones within minutes, 30 minutes to an hour. And so, and they were able to pass the kidney stones safely. Once they get small enough, you can pass them through the urine. So that's very famous. The science is very clear on how the mangosteen is able to do that also.
Wow, that's so powerful.
It is. It's amazing.
Well, as always, such a pleasure chatting with you, even just for this short period of time. I could talk to you all day about this. Even just this one drop, every time I hear you talk about a different drop, I think, well, now I got to take that one. So I think everybody feels the same way. You're so cherished here. Your knowledge is mind-blowing to so many of us, and we're so grateful that you share it with us. So team, as you know, in your back offices, the alt is now buy 2, get 2 free. It has already been started, and you can order that today and through the rest of the week. And Mary Esther, thank you so much. You're so gracious for coming on here with us every month and educating us on these awesome drops, and we're super grateful.
Well, I am too. It's an opportunity for me to share such, you know, life-saving knowledge, and to be able to spread the word of true health and get our population healthy. So everyone here has a very special product, and people will respect you and will be inspired by you when they see how it's improved your health. And because I provide the scientific knowledge, then it gives you a lot more credibility, everybody. And so you can go out and share the information as well. And that's why I wrote the book, Tina. I mean, the company needed a book like that, a reference manual. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We use it daily. I think everyone on this call probably has a copy, but if not, you can find it on Amazon. I highly recommend it. It has been absolutely crucial in building our business with these incredible drops as a knowledge base to enhance the credibility of our products. So thank you, Mary Esther. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next month.
Thank you so much, Tina. Bye, everybody.